Here with Ernie Monfiletto, head coach of the Douglas Tigers. We're going to discuss a little bit of last year, but more importantly, next year. We're going to start last year, 3-1 in league, and you came within 5 points of Damani Ranch. I believe it was 47-42 was the final, something like that. How did it feel to play all those great teams and nearly almost come out on top completely?
You know, it was a building process, getting through the preseason and getting prepared for the league schedule. Really didn't come out to play in the first half against Damani Ranch, and that bit us in the butt early in the year with Spanish Springs. And we realized the opportunity to be successful at home against Damani Ranch was there in the second half, and they let down a little bit because they were up on us. But it really showed a lot of character on our kids' part. And I think they believed after that, and that set the stage for the rest of the wins in league.
And another one of those wins in league, the big one. You guys, it's been a while since you beat Carson, but you did it this year. Great game. A lot would say the greatest rivalry in the state. What did it mean? I mean, I know here in Douglas what it feels, but tell some of our Reno Sparks people what it means for the Douglas Tigers to beat Carson.
Well, I think it's great that we're back in the win column against them, to be honest with you. We're building towards this year. If we're resting on last year's win against Carson, we're going to get beat. And to be honest with you, we're one game at a time and focused on Pocatello. And every game from Pocatello to Carson is a building point and an opportunity to get better for that rivalry. But we're worried about last year. We're in trouble. So we're excited about the victory last year, but we also know that we've got this year to play.
And like I said, putting on that orange and black means a lot. But what does it truly feel like when you wake up and you know you're the head coach of the Douglas Tiger football team?
Oh, I'm humbled. You know, there's a lot of great people before me that have been in this position, Coach Coverly and Coach Rippey, that set the stage for this program and doing it the Douglas way, as we call it. And I'm blessed to direct this program and have great kids. And really, I'm nothing without the kids and our staff. I have a tremendous staff. Over half of my guys are alumni, and so they're bought in from top to bottom.
And now we're going to kind of break down kind of a position-by-position deal. Hunter Hickey, he was a guy that passed, but he's kind of that dual threat guy that can run and pass. Are you expecting more from that, and how does he build on last year?
Yeah, I think Hunter's I think he's a lot more comfortable in that pocket to start to throw that ball. We hope to be closer to balance this year. Last year we were probably, I can tell you we were probably 30% throw, 70% pass, and this year we hope that we're closer to 50-50. But with that offensive line that we had, you couldn't help but run the ball. And I think with that group, I think with some returners this year in front of him, he's going to have great success. And I think he throws the ball extremely well. And I think he's a great run threat with that read option and power option as well. And he's, our team leader, always accountable, always does what he's supposed to do.
And last year at running back, you guys had Coleman and DeSomber, two great running backs, guys that just really carried the load for you guys behind that line. Who do you expect to fill that role this year?
Well, you interviewed him. Dakota Loudon and a kid named Jake Torson are two kids that are sitting there fighting for it. But Dakota is a 2-year varsity guy that played outside linebacker for us last year, and the few touches that he got as a junior were outstanding. So I expect nothing less from him. He's going to have a great year.
And you talked about that 70-30. Now
that's back to my roots.
Yeah, back to you.
If I could be 90-10, I would. Sorry about that, Hunter, but that's the way it goes.
90-10. Well, on that 10%, who can we look at Hickey throwing to this year?
Oh, there's 3 kids that I think kind of pop out in my head, or 4. Kane Hoyopotami, who you spoke with, he's returning strong safety. He'll be at receiver. Andrew Williams, he's a returning defensive back receiver. And then Jack Overton, who's returning senior at the H receiver, running back type. He's that fly back, catches the ball well out in the flat. And then Devin Ryan, who's played JV last year, but big, tall, lanky kid that we expect great things out of all four of them.
Absolutely, and I see it on your kids' shirts everywhere. You know, weights and strength is huge, and where else do you look but starting with the offensive line on that? Now, you guys had a great class last year. Do you have some up-and-coming guys or some guys that are returning that we could be looking at?
There are that offensive line will be completely replaced. But the kids, there's 2 or 3 kids that'll be seniors that got a game experience last year that'll be on there. Ryan McIntosh, James Monroe, Cody Freitas, Austin Aiken, and then some pups coming along. A sophomore last year, Andrew Browning, who played sparingly on the O-line, but a lot on the defensive line.
And then we flip sides over to the D-line. Now, some D-lines look to stop the run, some look to get to the pass. What are you expecting from your D-line, and can you tell us about some of those guys?
Well, 2 of them are returning starters, with Andrew Browning and Cody Freitas. And then kids transferred back from Sacramento, Alex Rice, and then Austin Aiken's a starter. So there's going to be 4 kids that are really kind of the primary, hopefully, ball players there. With some other kids filling in. But we really want to stop the run first and take care of the pass with the back 7.
Absolutely, and you talk about the back 7. We're going to start, first of all, before the back 7, we're going to talk about linebackers. Now, I know you like linebackers, and I know you're all about strength and conditioning and being fit and being able to play all game, because look at how many two-way guys you got. What would be your perfect linebacker, and do you have any guys that start to fit that mold?
Well, we hope that group of kids are really untested, to be honest with you right now, other than Dakota. The rest of them have got a long way to go, and we run the 3-4, and they've got to be able to run pass and fill those gaps, and they have a great responsibility. So, I to be honest with you, that's up for grabs. So there's a lot of kids that are vying for that attention and that opportunity. So hopefully somebody steps up and takes it.
And that back 7 stops the pass. We're looking at corners, safeties. Tell us a little bit about the Tiger backfield, or not backfield, sorry, defensive backfield rather.
Well, Andrew Williams, defensive back, cornerback, started most of the year there. Kane Hoyopotamy at outside line or at strong safety. We're 2 guys that are returners in that defensive backfield, and hopefully a couple of these juniors step up and take some spots and take some reps there. But I feel confident about where they're at. They just have, just have some maturing to do over the next couple of months.
And you talked about some names that we know of, just kind of capping off the whole roster. But can you give us 1 or 2 or maybe a few guys that everybody knows in Douglas but hasn't heard of yet?
Wow. We're a program that believes in team first, and I know that sounds kind of cliche-ish, but it's the truth. And I'm not really that excited about singling people out. And I do have high expectations of the kids that we've talked about, like Hunter and Dakota and Jack Overton and Devin Ryan and on the offensive line with Andrew Browning and James Monroe and Ryan McIntosh. Those kids have got a long way to go, but they've done a great job with what they've been asked to do on the offensive side. But really, and I know that it's one up front. It's one with the offensive line, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
Absolutely. And, you got a ton of great players, but if you got no coaches on the sideline to help them, really, how far can we go? So can you kind of just give us a brief overview of your coaching staff and the guys that help Ernie Monfiletto be this and everything else?
Well, I have a great coaching staff and a great deal of experience. Our defense coordinator, Rod Smalley, has been with us for the past 10 years. as the D coordinator the last 5 years, and he takes care of the outside linebackers. Ollie Harold is the outside linebacker coach, and he's been with the program on and off for the last 19 years, and alumni. Joe Andrews, who's the offensive line coach and special teams coordinator, he graduated in '99, played at UNR, does a tremendous job, and Rick McGuire does our defensive backs and our receivers, and new to the program for the past 5 years. So he's kind of the pup. Stormy Harold is our running backs coach and our defensive line coach, and another tremendous asset to this program. So those are the guys, and well, there's 6 of us, and we're like a family, and really I can't get it done without them, and without their cooperation and commitment to these kids, we're not able to win.
And something that most of the coaches have said, and I'm sure you agree with, you're not just coaches on the field, but you're friends outside. I mean, it's not just something you do on Friday nights. So it takes a lot for you to give away time from your families and from other things and give it to football for sure. But one thing I want to ask you, because you've been around a minute now, and you may have some knowledge on these teams after a few wins over here. You're, like I said, 3-1 in league. What do you got to say about playing in the Sierra League, playing against now Ernie Halloran, Sean Dupree, Blair Roman? I mean, you're playing against top-tier coaches, and then you go over to the Desert League. You got Tony Aventia, who he's not far removed from when he last coached at Amani, and then Dan Avancino. You never know what he's going to run. So, what does it mean to be Northern Nevada football coach and play against those guys?
Well, I've been with all those guys Sean's probably the newest guy of the group, but 21 years I've been in this league, and I have great respect for all those guys. I think they do a tremendous job, and I think every game you'd better come strapped on, because there's only 11 of us in the North, and so there's no easy wins. And I think every game we went through last year was a battle. And so, I have great respect for all those guys, truly. And they do a tremendous job. It's funny, but sometimes we lose sight of the fact that, sometimes you're dealt better cards than others, and sometimes, you have some struggles personnel-wise. And those guys are all great coaches. And the kids that are put on the field with them are also a reflection of how well they do.
Absolutely, and we're going to cap off this interview with one final question. I know you're a guy that always takes it one game at a time, and I can appreciate that. But can we look at goals? Can we look at possible stats? Can we look at things you really want to do? Obviously, top goal is to win state and then
sure.
Carson.
My first priority, to be honest with you, this again, but is about building good young men. And my first priority, without a doubt, is helping these kids become responsible adults and reflect the values of their family in this program, and hopefully be able to look at themselves in the mirror, and hopefully that reflection is something that's something they can be proud of. As far as team goals, sure, we want to win everything, and we're disappointed anytime we lose. And our first goal, like I said, is to get on the road and go to Pocatello and compete for a win, and then get back and play those Reed Raiders and North Valleys and I don't know who's in order of what, but Spanish Springs, is in there as well. So, get back and battle those teams one at a time. And one of the things we've got to get after a program change has got to be that we play from the first snap and not wait till the second quarter. And that's on us. That's on our coaching staff to establish that expectation. It's on their responsibility to respond to it. So we have great goals. We expect to compete for a league championship. There's no doubt about it. But we got to do that one game at a time. And I think that we're in a very competitive league with Damani Ranch and Carson and Minogue and Galena. I mean, I think that all of us are quality programs with quality coaching staffs.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time, Coach.
Yeah, my pleasure. I appreciate you coming out and visiting the Douglas Tigers. It's a great place to be. I always tell them this, there's no place I'd rather be, and the sun is always shining on the Tigers.
Thank you, Coach.
As you look around you right now, there's not a cloud in the sky.